talk. We want to hear from Lester and Leslie. Let's talk. We're on a journey, come along with me. Let's talk. We're bringing a new perspective. Let's talk. Let's talk with Lester and Leslie.
Well, hey, Leslie.
Hey, Jay.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty great. How are you?
I just got back from Nashville for my 40th birthday.
Woo-woo! How was that?
There's just not enough naps after 40.
Oh, yeah. You've only been doing this for like what?
A week, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'm unprepared, but no, the trip was fun. Got a chance to go to the African American Museum of Music on Broadway and had a chance to do a tour at the Jack Daniels Distillery in Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Oh.
I remember you mentioned something about Lynchburg, Tennessee. What were your thoughts about that?
I was just hoping that you were safe. And
Is it all in the name?
I mean, it's not like you're going there for a burg.
That is right.
Yeah.
That is right.
But yeah, you go into places like that, they have lots of stories. They have lots of
Stories as it concerns those of African descent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very concerning historical background.
Yes. In Lynchburg. Do you think that's short for lynching?
I mean, it could. I mean, there's a Y in it. So, that could
They
be like
remixed
for
it.
you. But yeah, yeah. So everybody spells. It's like, what do they call those words that
Have double meaning?
Yeah.
Well, while we're on that road, so I want to talk about real quick that museum. So have you been in Nashville, by the way?
Yes.
You have. Have you partied on Broadway?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe you can speak about your experience, but what happened with me, right? You're nodding your head.
I prefer not.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about this is more so around like the social structure of Nashville, right? Mm-hmm. So I went to the African American Museum of Music, which was great. And then they close at I think 5. So the sun is just going down around that time. So I decided I hear music everywhere. I see folks looks like party buses going up and down the street. It's like a little hill. Broadway is, the streets are very hilly. Like it reminds me of like San Francisco. Anyways, so I'm walking on foot and I said, okay, I want to at least stick my head in every live music, which is pretty much every bar. This is like when you go to New Orleans and you're on Bourbon Street, it's a bar, like bars next to bars next to bars.
It's just a straight strip.
Yeah, it's a strip, a party town stuff. So I'm looking in there and I'm hearing obviously country, but I'm also hearing like top 40 stuff, like the stuff we do in the wedding bands. I'm hearing some popular R&B songs, in some cases like old school R&B blues type stuff. So good music, but as I go through and I stuck my head in every single bar looking for one black musician and couldn't find one.
And it was singing all the songs. Huh?
Yeah, so it'd be one thing if it was all just like country, traditional country, let me say too, because as we know now, there's been black musicians in the country genre, but thanks to Beyonce with that Cowboy Carter album, it seems to be more of a focus or more attention on black country artists in a mainstream vein. So I wasn't necessarily looking I wasn't looking for black singers. I was looking just for one musician. So it could be drums, bass, guitar, harp, whatever.
Not even in the background, like
the only black faces I saw representing these clubs were the security outside.
oh,
And this was on a Saturday night, right? Because I got in on Thursday, Friday. What did I do on Friday? I think Friday, I forgot what I did on Friday, but Saturday
time.
night, right? Saturday night, I did the Broadway after that. And oh, no, remember I had caught the stomach flu on the second day. Yeah, which was weird. So I wasn't eating much. I really had to kind of force myself even to go out that
Did
Saturday.
you eat anything, like any of the barbecue? Or?
I did the last day when my stomach started to settle. We went to a place called, I think, Martin's Barbecue, joint by recommendation of my B-Day twin and sister in song, Lashera Moore, because she was down there too, which was really weird. We didn't discuss the photo shoot or the birthday trip, and we ended up doing like the same thing for our 40th. But anyways, so I was intentionally, this is a Saturday night, so it's bussing on the street. There's people everywhere. Popular night. The sun is going down. I intentionally looked for just one black face, one black musician, and I could not find one in a 3-block radius of back-to-back bars with all live music. And that was a little disappointing to me. And then I thought to myself, I said, oh, this must be why they have this African American Museum of Music situated right here at the kind of the head of where these bars are at, because this is the representation of black musicianship on this popular music strip, is this museum, because God knows they're not hiring the musicians in the bars. So I guess it goes without saying, I didn't really stick around for the live music portion of, like, I live because I told myself if I saw one, I was going to sit there, just kind of see how he or she is vibing with the aesthetic. And because this is my first time there leisurely. The first time I went to Nashville was some years ago before COVID on a work trip. So I said, this time I want to see what this live music scene's about. What does it look like culturally? And like I said, I was a bit disappointed to see that they didn't have and it's not just black. I was looking for anything that was, and this is not to sound prejudiced, but I want to see if there were any non-white musicians. Because here in Chicago, we are full of diversity when it comes to the music scene. I have had an Asian piano player, Latinx guitar players and soloists, and like you can find any Filipino, you can find any flavor of person in the music umbrella somewhere in the city. And that's it. You know what? It reminded me of when I moved down there to Texas too, because before I moved down there to Texas, if you come from Chicago, you don't realize how spoiled you are when you like go somewhere else. Like, our food is superior, our culture is superior, our diversity is superior. So if you're born and raised in this thing, you just kind of ignorantly assume that this is how it looks in every major metropolitan area in the country, and that is just not true.
It's funny. Are you a shy superiorist?
No, what?
A shy supremacist?
Yes, I am shy Chicago supremacist. And I mean, the only places that I've gone to that have mirrored our food or culture or live music is like LA, Atlanta, New York. That's it.
Oh yeah.
And I've been around.
Area, like Oakland. Have you been to Oakland?
Oakland.
Oh my
I haven't been there
God.
during the night time. Like, I haven't experienced this nightlife, but I went through Oakland on my way to Napa
San
Valley.
Francisco. Oh, Napa Valley.
Yeah,
Ooh.
for wine tour for my 37.
How grand.
That was a grand year.
That's dope. I would like to go to one of those places. I think there's like vineyards in Michigan
Yep.
nearby. But yeah, very, very culinarily diverse in most of those areas too. So that's how I'm like, okay, how well is this done?
Was your experience similar when you went to Nashville? Or do you remember?
I did not pay attention.
You said you had other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Cool. We don't have to divulge. But yeah, and I know that was a different time too, like at least a decade ago, right?
Not quite. But
I would assume if it was like that in my experience now, it might have been either the same or maybe a little bit worse back and when you were there. But
yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. But that was my week. How was your week?
My week's been okay. I ended up taking my daughter shopping on Saturday.
Oh, what was the occasion?
She wanted to go shopping.
Is she starting to get into like the shopping thing, or was it just like a one-off?
No, it was just for like, I don't know. She's really into anime. So, and oh yeah, and I think that there was like a My Little Pony collab with one of these stores. So we wanted to go and check that out.
She's into My Little Pony?
I mean, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was still a thing for the kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems like My Little Pony was a thing when I was a children.
Yes. When we were a children. That's why I'm surprised. One of the things I noticed as I've gotten older, and I'm sure you've noticed this as well, like there's certain clubs I can call out, like the Green Mill,
yes,
the Joint, etc. that I used to patronize. I performed at. I forgot there was a club in front of Cubby Bear that used to be really popping too when I was in college. It's not Sluggers. It's another one because they did live music there, and it was kind of like in front, right there on Clark, but in front of the Cubby Bear, but behind that store. So you have to walk a little bit behind the store, and it was almost kind of like hidden, like the underground lounge. I think that I took you to before, but yes, a lot of these places are no longer. So we have memories.
Oh my gosh! The North Side has changed
with clubs and culture that are no longer, but. Like we said in like the first episode, the one thing that's constant is change. So it wasn't meant to be, but it just made me think about that when you talked about My Pony, like, oh, it's still hanging on.
Well, it's definitely evolved. They don't look like they used to look back in the day, but
I bet.
Yeah, everything's different. I mean, it's still cute storyline, it's still the same. Mm-hmm. I'll watch episodes every now and then.
Oh, they've got actual so the shows are still going too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
There's a whole ponyverse.
Oh my God. Superman, what have you done to the shows? Well, the particular topic that we're talking about today. Wait, first of all, was that everything that you did this week?
Yeah, let's put some distance in between that before we get into something else that we're about to get into. When we get there, you're going to understand why. So let's see, what else did I do? Oh, so I actually got a grip on grocery shopping.
Okay.
Which I was very excited about every time I get to go. And I did a lot of like batch cooking kind of thing, but not like, well, maybe it is cooking because it's all like cold food. So I have like a bulk thing of tuna and I have like a salad mix and then I have greens, like salad greens in the
Sounds
drawer.
Like a food prep.
Yeah, I did a lot of food prepping. I had this like mic like right on my face. I did a lot of food prepping and I'm getting a grip on nutrition and stuff like that because I realized I gained so much weight. Yeah. And so had to get a grip on that because it is not being that heavy is just not that great for my bones. So
Right.
yeah, so I just want to be close to lean as possible and just set myself up for a good 50s.
I was looking at, and I didn't see the whole episode. It's called Outlaws. Obviously, you know I love T.S. Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And she had Cynthia Bailey from The Real Housewives of Atlanta on there, who is also like one of the first batch of Black models from the 90s. Anyways, Cynthia Bailey is now almost, she's past her 50s. How old is Cynthia Bailey? Google. Anyway, stop asking AI. AI didn't. She was born in 1967. So that would make her
57.
58. So she's actually almost 60,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I bring that up because so T.S. Madison, obviously she's a trans girl. She's asking this cisgender woman, they talk about menopause. She said, what is menopause? I'm a trans woman. I don't know what that is. Talk to me like I'm 5.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things she mentioned is the stages that you pre-menopause, menopause, and then post-menopause. And I guess she may be in her post-menopause stage. But anyways, you just talked about like weight, and it just made me remember one of the things I saw in the clip where she was saying that pre-menopause or like before menopause, you could have burger, fries, you gain 5 pounds or whatever. And once you're like in your pre-menopause or in menopause or post-menopause, just whatever stage in that area, you have to adjust. You can adjust and say, okay, I'm going to cut the fries, I eat the burger. You gain the same 5 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's how a woman's body adjusts and goes through the things with the changes. So it just made, because I remember you mentioned perimenopause in one of our last recordings. So you think perimenopause has anything to do with those body changes or the weight gain that you talk about?
No, I just ate like a pig.
The same pig that you would have ate.
Yeah,
The
pretty
same
much.
stuff that you would have ate in your
burgers
30s
and the fries
and 20s.
and the tacos, and yeah, I was just not paying attention to the quantity of calories that I was putting. Like I was like just eating, like putting it away pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped exercising for a while. Yeah.
Are you still taking the soursop?
Well, yeah. I finished the bottle.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Did it do anything for you?
I slept great.
That's good. Sleep is important for health.
Yeah, it is. And I wake up and like once I'm up, I'm up.
You're like refreshed.
Yeah. And it's like a few weeks ago, I wasn't really doing very well, but like lately, I like wake up 2 hours before I have to log in, and I like do stuff in those 2 hours where it's like I'm cleaning or
that's so good.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's definitely something that I've gotten like extra energy. I've noticed that my energy in the morning has increased because my sleep has been optimal.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And I think maybe my joints too, because I did some poses in yoga I didn't think I could like recover from.
Come on now. Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Craig. Out there. Okay.
Yeah. So it put me into one of like a research hole again on like what foods are good for inflammation and immunity. It's just like gut health, obviously like just all around holistic support. And so like a lot of the bitter melon and the bitter foods are really good for those things.
Yes. Have you heard, so I was on a gig and so it was a guy from Blue Water Kings that was telling me about an app, Nourish, and I downloaded the app, but they work with every insurance company. They work on getting like certain blood tests to see like what foods, because we're all designed differently with our body chemistry, and like there's some of us, and I hate these people who can eat like shit and not gain a pound, then there's some of us who will eat broccoli maybe with a little cheese and we gain the same amount of weight that that person that had tacos and that kind of thing. So they do the blood work to see what foods work with your body chemistry and what doesn't. I haven't looked into it like I need to, but I did download the app so that it's sitting there and reminding me to check up. Have you ever done blood work or any of those tests to see like what food
Well, no, not
go
that.
with your, me neither. And I'm looking forward to doing that in 2026 on my health journey.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll come back and tell you about it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And like, you can eat dairy all along.
Right.
You just can't eat it with fruit.
Or after 8 o'clock.
Or after 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Or
Or
that kind of
before
stuff.
12.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That'd be great to know how your body specifically works.
With certain foods and yeah.
Yeah. And knowing how your body works as far as your anatomy.
Yes.
Which brings us to
The subject of the day.
it is. Let's talk about sex, baby.
Let's talk about you and me.
Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be.
You better know the lyrics. I don't know anything after let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. My God. So we're talking about sex today?
We're talking about.
Oh my God. I feel so naked. Well, let me tell you, one of the effects of the soursop that has happened for me that you had mentioned happened for you, but has happened for me is, especially like in the first couple of days, actually, we have it on record, one of these episodes. You're like, how you doing, Leslie? I'm like, I'm feeling really motherfucking good. Those are my exact words. Part of that was my horniness factor was and has been like on 10 because of the soursop.
Yoing, yoing, yoing.
Yes. I guess it has something to do with the blood flow or something. I don't know, but I've just been just a little whorish.
A little frisky.
Just a little bit.
Cool.
I'm single, so I can whatever I do what I want kind of stuff. Of course, within reason and within safety. And I equate that all partially the soursop.
Well, that's good to get a little extra, I guess, circulation going or all of that. Some of the things we don't teach you in school.
Exactly. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about like sex and like just the history of sex ed. So of course you and I both grew up in private schools, Christian private schools, not just the curriculum, but the basis of it has been centered around religion and faith. So of course.
Yeah. And then specifically you had Catholic.
Right.
And I was in the Lutheran system. So it's even broken down in another like little tree branch.
Genre.
Yeah.
But the consistent kind of theme when it comes to sex ed has been like abstinence. Even when you even when you and I were talking about this, when was it? Last weekend or Monday when I got back?
No, it was over the weekend.
Over the weekend. Okay. Yeah. So I was in Nashville when we were. Yeah, we were. I was in Nashville because I remember my friend. It was like an hour and a half, almost 2 hour long conversation. I was in the hotel room. I had just finished some work and we got on the phone and we just started talking about sex ed. And I've been thinking about it ever since. There is nothing in terms of like anatomy, in terms of like how the body works, how a young boy, 12, 13, 14, the changes that we go through with puberty and things like that. There is nothing in terms of something from the school that I can even recall having any type of valuable conversation. The one thing that I do remember from both, what's that, pre-high school? Was this that area?
Wait, junior high?
Junior high to high school. The only thing that sticks out in terms of a theme that was pushed is abstinence. That's the only thing that I can remember. We might have gone through some anatomy type stuff, just kind of brushed over it or something. But the theme of abstinence is the only thing that I can remember from any type of sex ed. What about you?
So in grade school, so like in my Lutheran education, it was pretty much like saying what parts were.
This is a penis.
Pretty much.
This is a vagina.
Yes.
And do they even get into like, did they get into the internal pieces of it, like nerves and,
No.
or this is the labia, this is that, or was it just vagina?
It was the most basic and safe and vague information that was given. And I think I remember it as it just being, these are the parts. I don't ever remember it talking about like the clitoris or like what the clitoris is capable of. I don't remember him saying anything about that. You know, and like penises and all like ovaries and stuff. They didn't really explain to me what a period was or like it was not very specific, and I didn't know what questions to ask because I mean, for me, I wasn't really interested in it anyway. Because
Right.
they weren't teaching it to the point where, oh, this is you. This is, I'm saying it was just like a history lesson or a biology lesson kind of thing.
Okay.
You know, except you got to see what like boobs were in a cartoon in the textbooks.
Did they have it as a cartoon? It wasn't like
No, okay. So it was like those watercolor pictures.
it's like a drawing.
Yeah, it was illustrated.
They drew. Of course, you can't connect these objects to you. They were drawn.
Yeah, so it was very disconnected. It was very like very very cut and dry. But
Yeah.
but that was like maybe when I was like in 5th and 6th grade. But I remember in my 7th and 8th grade sex ed in that school, I had a really great math teacher.
Okay.
And who also like doubled as our sex ed teacher.
They used to do that a lot in our day.
Well, in our school
for budgeting purposes. Now that we're adults, we know what the purpose why our computer class teacher was also the women's basketball coach.
It was a basketball coach, the history teacher, and the janitor. They all took
4 jobs in one check.
Yeah.
God bless you, teachers.
Oh my God, they have y'all doing way too much. But anyway,
right?
It's not fair.
Nope.
But
we're laughing about it, but we empathize.
We here for you. Yeah, absolutely. So, she had set up like I think like a box, and so I think I remember like a box where we just put questions. She's like, just put any kind of questions you have about sex, doesn't matter what it is, and I'll just answer it. And I remember there was conversations like, what kind of question you can ask when you put in there?
Let's try to trip her up and see if we can give her something really, I don't know,
like really nasty
and see if she's going to actually answer it.
And you're looking the nastiest question. It was like, what is cum? And then she answered, yeah, it's just ejaculate that comes,
Yes. Come on, Miss Math teacher.
She just straight up just explain, and we were just like, oh, okay, because we probably didn't know what it was.
Right. The kid, and it makes sense. The kids are like all goofy about it.
Yeah, of course.
She's a whole grown
woman. We're new
woman.
here.
Yeah.
And they weren't teaching us the right way anyway. Right. Oh, what does it mean? What's the G-spot? And she's like, oh, so the G-spot is a little area in the place of the body that it comes to a point of arousal for. And it's just like, oh, okay. And straight facts.
When you just mentioned that, it was other things that I thought about now as an adult, like sex ed is more than just about like the physical parts and how do they operate within sexual situations, but it's also about like sexual health. Like if you're a man and you have an uncircumcised penis, what is this cheesy stuff and how do I keep this orifice clean? And those are things that are
it's like, what is circumcised versus uncircumcised?
Right. Because you'll think if you're circumcised, like most of us are, that this is just how it's supposed to be. So that's not a question I would ask.
Right.
So none of all those kind of conversations and questions and things that should be covered in a standard sexual education course, I didn't get that. And God bless your math teacher.
I know, she was fantastic.
Yeah. Even though I feel like it's probably she shouldn't have had to do that. Like, because the curriculum that should have been enough, you know what I'm saying? So that, because you guys are kids, like you just mentioned, what has come? Like, we're not talking about like sexual diseases and things. You guys, how would you know about those things? You're new here. You're right. So that's just even God bless her for being that transparent. But the other part of it too is that in the grand scheme of things, that was like a drop in the bucket.
Some basic ass questions.
Very basic.
That probably should be in those textbooks.
Exactly.
Because they weren't. Yeah, thinking about it now, like, yeah, we thought we were on it, like, just saying like the worst stuff ever, but really it wasn't. And I'm really grateful that I had that experience and that she handled it like she did.
Yeah.
So great, like excellent teacher. But high school though, you remember what that was like?
It's pretty much the same for me. It's pretty much the same as a junior high for me, where abstinence. All I can remember is abstinence.
We weren't even talking, like, I mean, they mentioned condoms, but it was like taboo to bring the show or anything.
Right.
Talking about like different.
Oh, we damn sure didn't see.
No, we didn't see anything.
Yeah, it was just discussed as if we should already know what it is.
See, and we totally had no clue about how to use any of those, because actually they weren't. I guess that's just like one easy way of teaching it. Just don't do it. And that's it. You don't have to worry about answering questions about like STDs, because why are you doing it in the first place?
Exactly. And I would like to also, is that the extent that you remember for high school before I talk about parents?
Let me see. I think so, because there wasn't a whole lot covered as far as the mental part, you know.
Of course. Well, see, we keep going back to the physical part because that part was barely covered correctly. So of course we can't even talk about the health part, the maintenance part, the mental part of it that carries with the acts.
And I think high school it would be the time to talk about that.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. Just like I was mentioning you in our conversation, and I think most guys can identify with this. Like, I remember being in seventh, it probably starts the end of seventh grade, but certainly in eighth grade. Thank God I was at a Catholic school that had, like, I think our graduating class was maybe like 13. It was very small.
Oh yeah, my class was very small. Yeah. Too. Yours was a big class compared to mine.
Yeah, very small eighth grade class. But I remember experiencing like arousals, right, as a boy, and sitting there like, I hope I don't have to stand up, Jesus. I don't I don't want, or trying to, you're having the binders and the books appropriately placed in front of you if you are standing, and the hard on just won't go down, that kind of stuff, and not knowing like why is this happening, what's going on.
Lack of education just set us up for shame.
Yeah. Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. So to transition into, and then the parent involvement with it, was very traditional. You know, my parents are from the Bible Belt, so mom didn't really have to have a conversation with us. She had 2 boys, so
Lucky her.
lucky her, right? She did, just
don't know
passed
about that.
the buck on the dad, and no shade, but that's kind of what it was. Passed the buck on, and I remember really the conversations around the birds and the bees as it concerned my dad was, you get a girl pregnant, marry her, and you know, because don't make no bastard kids. And if you man enough to impregnate a woman, then you man enough to begin your family and take on the responsibility of the child and all of those kind of things. So that was the extent of the sex talk that I remember from
the. Worry about you.
Yeah,
Don't worry, Dad.
Not something you have to worry about necessarily.
Understood.
Because going through the changes and going through trying to figure out your sexuality, of course, you are raised in a heterosexual setting. So, and I abided by that for at least until college. So, and did I have girlfriends? I did. Mm-hmm. Did we get involved in things that were adult that we didn't understand what we were doing? We absolutely did. There is a such thing as, now, again, I consider myself to be pansexual. So there is attraction to femininity within my sexual desires.
So wait, what age are we talking about? Like, what age range was this time where you were just like figuring it out?
Oh, that was all the way from when sex was starting to move within about
15?
13 to college.
Oh, okay. So a longer span for you, like as far as like figuring it out.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Like 13 to freaking early 20s.
Yeah.
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 And then the majority, an earlier part of that being a shame and damnation of these thoughts that would creep up for same sex. But there was also, see, this is why it's a little complicated. It'd be one thing if I just identified as one thing, being attracted to one thing. My desires are vast. So that's even more because you kind of, it's like a ping pong match where it's like, oh, I'm good this year, or I'm good this month, or whatever, or I've got this girl. So another thing too is I've always been monogamous minded. So I never really, if I was in a relationship, I was straight. It was, generally speaking, straight.
So you were in that relationship.
Right. But when I was not in the relationship, that's when the minds and thoughts would wander. But so it's complicated with someone like me. I wish I could say more black and white, but it was not, ooh, vagina. This isn't what there would be.
What people think. Listen at it.
I am, they call it, I think, a golden gay. If you've never engaged with this opposite sex, I am not a golden gay.
Oh, so you're like a bronze or like
something like that. Well, I don't know, but I have dated and been in serious relationships. My trans ex was a golden gay, someone who knew at the onset that vagina. Oh, and the thing is, it's not even ill vagina.
They're just more towards.
I think, just speaking from the experience from someone that has queer experience, it's not about the body parts. It's about, in my opinion, it's about the energy. So it wouldn't be like ill vagina if we're talking about a gay man. It'd be like ill femininity. Like, I'm trying to be femme, you're femme. That's gay.
I
want masculinity, or vice versa. If you talk about a lesbian, it'd be like, I'm mask. So these guys over here, like, I want to be their homie, but I'm attracted to femininity. So we're talking about, like I said, younger queer folks. a lot of people think that queerness is like this automatic realization of what sex means, the parts. It isn't, I don't, at least in my experience and the experience of folks who I know, it's really not been that. It's really about the energy portion. It's about whether you fall on the feminine spectrum if you were born a man, or if you fall on the masculine spectrum if you are a woman, and, you know, you being attracted to the opposite energy. We'll get into details of that and how that shows up when we talk about trans maybe a little bit later. But so no, it wasn't like, because I was dating girls, and it wasn't like, it wasn't a burden. I enjoyed myself. So yeah.
Well, like I wouldn't know. Well, I would imagine that early on, even into your 20s, there was like a level of where you had to hide who you were based on like what we were told by our parents, and our parents were very religious,
Right.
and very homophobic.
Right. That's right.
Because I remember even believing that when I was younger. And I had no exposure to it other than the fact that, like, maybe I saw it on TV and then my mom got really mad. And she was telling me about,
Saw
like,
something queer on TV. Something
yeah,
gay.
it was like on PBS, and there was like some ballet. It was kind of like in the key of Rent.
Okay.
And
Rent.
yeah, but it was like, it wasn't like the actual musical. It was more like an art piece.
Mm-hmm.
And there was two men who were ballet dancers, and they were dancing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like looking, I'm like, wow, I never seen two guys do that. You know what I'm saying? And I was looking at it straight from an art form. Like, I loved dance when I was like little,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to be a dancer,
Mm-hmm.
but can't make money doing that.
Right.
So
Shit.
yeah, right. Doesn't matter. My lower back is jacked. It probably wouldn't have been if. Well, anyway, I can't go back. But anyway, like, I know that when my mom, I remember my mom going shopping. I went shopping with my mom, and like out of nowhere, I just asked, like, Mom, was a tampon for?
How old were you when you asked her that?
I think it was like 14.
My God. That's about the right age, right?
Yeah, but the issue is that, like, at that time, I knew what tampons were,
Mm-hmm.
but I got mad at the fact that she didn't tell me what they were. I had to find out on the street. And you know what she told me?
Well,
only married women use tampons.
No, Mom did not say that.
Yes, that is how, like, deep.
How deep-seated that religious.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That was crazy to me. And I'm just like, what do you mean only married? What changes when I get married? I was so
Magic
confused.
happens when you get married. All of a sudden, adulthood starts.
Magic.
Yep. Voila.
Yeah, voila. You're barefoot and pregnant. Like, oh, yeah, whatever. Like,
As soon as you say I do.
yeah. I done.
Right.
But yeah, like, I try to ask my mom some of these questions when I was younger, but I was so afraid to ask them because a lot of times I would get like, what you need to know that for?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of question back. I don't know if you had this with your parents, but like I would
probably
attempt to ask a question about something that would probably make my mom feel uncomfortable because I didn't want to ask my dad. Like, that was weird.
Yeah.
But, so
you kind of had the same thing like with me where it's like, you're a woman, so you go to your mom.
Yeah.
The sons go to the father.
Well, because, I mean, corresponding parts.
Period. That's right. So it makes sense.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to have both parents in the house, and I could consult one, but I didn't, like, because the fact that there was so much of that, I think it has to do with shame, actually.
Yeah. It's for
Because
sure
religion
shame.
really, really had us pent up for no reason.
No reason at
and
all.
a lot of times, like, we could have navigated life a whole lot better if we just had straight up information.
Right.
And it's like, you can't just tell kids, just don't do it.
Yeah.
If I was sat down and told about, like, okay, here are some of, like, physically, okay, if you have sex with unprotected, you could get pregnant or you can get an STD.
Mm.
That's that. But, like, if you decide to have sex with somebody, here are the emotional costs
There we go.
that you might have to deal with afterwards, because it is not just the physical part of it. It's the relationship, and it is a type of actions that come with those implications. And are you ready? Are you emotionally mature to handle that? And are you emotionally mature to handle a no?
Like if someone comes on to you, or maybe you have an attraction for someone and you come on to them and they say no, how to handle the emotional intelligent part of being able to handle that without trying to have a reaction to it.
Right. It's understanding consent. And understanding what a clear no is. Like, if
me
it's
no
not,
consent. Me no consent.
Like, it's not even that. It's
if
just
I
me.
want you, you say yes, or you face consequences. And you guys don't see me. I'm beating my chest like a caveman, because that's literally how we're alive of our that is rooted in, like, really elementary to rudimentary caveman like ideologies, especially with men.
Walk down the street with, like, a big old, like, big club, hit a woman over the head and pull her, drag her by the hair and put her in your cave. That is what it still, like, felt like.
Yeah, and we know that now to be a form of rape.
Yes.
By the way.
Oh my God.
Caveman, our jails would be lined with cavemen. What was that caveman?
Well, like Fred Flintstone.
Fred Flintstone would be in jail with the way that he got his wife.
Oh no, he wouldn't. Patriarchy, duh. That's that's
no, I mean, like in today's, like, he might have. Let me say, not that he would be in jail. He would have the opportunity to go to jail, because even today,
he would have the opportunity.
He could, if he got money, he could get a good lawyer to kind of try to flip that out.
I mean, people love Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Yabba dabba.
Might even be able to become president. Anyways,
But yeah, like, understanding consent, like, being taught those things and being taught, like, okay, no one is entitled to anyone's body. That should have been a lesson that was taught, like, throughout the whole thing,
from the inception of
like the very beginning. And there were times where I have been assaulted and not really not really knowing that I was actually assaulted.
Yeah.
And
because of how you were raised to believe this.
Right. It was my fault. So I guess I
patriarchy.
Ask for it anyway. Kind of thing.
Patriarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this man is entitled to your personhood.
Well, I didn't really tell him no, but at the same time, I was afraid to say no because I didn't know what the hell was going on. And, I was drunk, and I'm not going to say that and admit, like, or call for some kind of help, because I was assaulted when I was under the influence. So I wasn't going to say anything because I was under the influence.
Yeah. And then we were at a time too where they would look for things like that to pin the blame on the woman.
Oh, absolutely. So no, I didn't come forward. There were several times where I should have said something, but I didn't, because of the situations that I was in.
Yeah.
And I would be judged for that.
Right. So it sounds like we're kind of like talking about traumas around having poor sexual education, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of have my own, but I do have the privilege of patriarchy, so it doesn't land on me, I guess, the same way. But one of the repercussions for guy or girl having poor sexual education is that guess what? You end up having to figure it out on your own. And what resources are out there to teach you about these things? Porn. Porn. So back in the day, I don't know if you remember, because I know you mentioned you had cable. We had cable too, like standard cable.
Like
so
the scramble
at night,
channel?
you go to the Spice Channel, whatever it is, and it's scrambled, and every few seconds it would clear up. So, that you see those kind of things, and it's even more unclear. It's even more gray when you're under the queer spectrum, right? You have a general understanding how it works when you're dealing with the opposite sex, but then when you're dealing with the same sex and you have attraction towards the same sex, but don't know what sex looks like and the emotions and all the things we mentioned, the cleanliness, everything, it becomes a free for all. And one of the things I have preached as being a person of queer experience and in the queer community, one of the things that I saw, especially when I got into my first real relationship with my trans ex, because she was a golden gay. So all of her sexual experiences, even without, and then she was raised by her grandparents, so an even older generation, probably closer to your experience, because I think they may have been in the same age range. Actually, no, they were much older.
Oh.
Yeah. But you start to get into situations where you're a young boy susceptible to an older gay who probably should not be engaging with you. You're 16, 17, 18, thinking that you're grown, and you're with this grown ass man. I'm not going to put anybody's specific story out there, but I've heard, my God, I've heard many that, and then I've got one or two of my own that aren't as egregious, but also they're yucky. Like, I can speak to one of the first times. So there used to be this website when I was in college that I guess you can call him an ex. It was a situationship. Probably the first one I ever had was in college, and he put me onto this website called BGC Live, Black Gay Chat, I believe is what BGC was abbreviated for. And I created an account, and one of the first situationships that I was like 17 or 18. And I remember one of the guys was a teacher and I remember he was 30 something, so he was double my age, I remember. And then another one, I don't know his age, but he definitely had to have been close to 50, maybe, the way he looked.
And you were 17?
And that one I was like 18,
but
19.
Oh, that's weird.
And it wasn't, I've always been a big guy, so it wasn't a situation where like
you
rape or something.
Physical disadvantage or like
yeah, but it's definitely it's like there was moments where I look back on where I'm just like, you shouldn't have. I know that I probably a little bit big, but I was still in the teen age, and you shouldn't have been talking to me. Like, because me now being in my ripe age of 40.
You have friends who have kids that.
Exactly. My parameter would not go under, like, what did I say, 25 to 35 when we talked about the young, when we talk about what a young person is today in our age group right now, 25 to 35 would be considered young. So, yeah. So I look back on those situations. I'm like, even though it was like awkward, but it was like, I didn't feel like I was assaulted, but it's just one of those things where it's just like,
that shouldn't
if
happen.
I saw you now, I would probably look at you and be like, someone should check your browsing history and just make sure that you're not messing with someone that's younger than you, because you should, I don't care how tall or big I was, you should not have been hitting me up on my little profile. So yeah, so going back to the point, like, when you aren't as detailed with teaching your children about sexual health history, all of that in a full spectrum, especially queer kids, you leave them susceptible to someone that I know was a high school student messing around with a principal.
Yeah.
And because they weren't led correctly or educated correctly on sex and the emotional toll of it, they didn't even know that they were being taken advantage of. And eventually the person became too old for that principal, and he just kept going young and he kept getting older. So just those kind of things.
Yeah.
Especially when you're queer, because black and queer, because a lot of our families, especially back in the day, if you were like a golden gay or someone that was very feminine and that kind of thing, it didn't even show any type of resistance to that. Your family would abandon you. You'd be thrown out. That's leaving you susceptible to predators out there on the street when you don't have a guardian to take care of you. I know this is true both on the heterosexual spectrum, but normally you don't get kicked out of the house by telling your parents at 14 or 15 or 13 that mom, dad, I think I'm gay, right? But that does happen that did happen more often, I guess, back then and now. Back then,
we're hearing less of it happen now. I mean,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure about the same amount, because there's all trans hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me, how you can just put your own child out on the street for that.
Yeah.
Like, they are not bringing like copious amounts of drugs and trafficking it through the house, or
right.
Like,
they're not physically assaulting
that is not
anybody.
Dangerous. It's dangerous.
And like I said, the biggest thing is that you leave your child susceptible for a predator.
That's more dangerous.
And then now all of a sudden that child is looking at this predator as their safe haven.
Yes.
So these are the kind of stories that I've heard about since coming out and befriending queer folks and dating them and all that kind of stuff. And these are really sad stories. It happens more often than not. And the base and the root of it is because these families had such a hatred towards homosexuality that they were willing to sacrifice their child's safety, their health, their mental health, all those things by throwing them out on the street. Mm-hmm. So, and like I said, it just happens so much. So those are the kind of traumas that come from having poor sexual education, is you leave that child susceptible to figure it out for themselves. And porn is not a good barometer for sex. That is why some of these young folks come up pregnant, because they trying to fuck like they see these porn stars do.
It's like saying the Learning Channel is the new PBS. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Or learning kind of like social cues in how to deal with people on a social level from reality TV.
Oh my God.
Housewives should not be teaching your children how to interact with people in the world. That is not real, children. Anyways.
Right. Reality TV is not real, which is, what time do we
So one of the good things, though, I'm happy about that comes with age is wisdom. We can look back on these things and see kind of where the ball was dropped. And again, like I said in previous episodes, I love my parents. I know that they did the best that they could with what they had. So this isn't like a blame game on anybody. It's just a reflection of where we're at now. And in cases like you, where you are bringing up a child, knowing and doing it differently.
Yeah. Like the way that is the most helpful. because a lack of information sets up these children for abuse.
Yeah.
And it sets them up for just like you're not setting them up for a most optimal life if you're not sharing valuable information in a way that they can digest it. And some kids can handle a little bit more than you think if you're honest. But like it should be to the point where we have to have uncomfortable conversations. And those conversations will become less uncomfortable the more
they happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we need to continue normalizing those uncomfortable, these conversations that we actually need to have.
They have to happen.
Because it's just like, okay, yeah. Because have you evolved your freaking frontal lobe beyond the 6th grader who's like, oh, penis, vagina,
come.
You know, like I'm saying, like please be an adult and understand, like, okay, yeah, kids are gonna act up and act crazy because they heard like little new dirty words and whatever. Woohoo! They're new here, so it would behoove you. Yes, new. So it would behoove you to like just to be honest and truthful and to set themselves up to not just the physical part or just the consequences of the physical part. We should like do a well-rounded evaluation. Okay, what do you think consent is and where do you think you should stop or a no or whatever? How can you handle rejection? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is actual sex really like? And honestly, there's all different kinds.
That's right.
So it just can't just be one way or whatever. And even though I know there's probably only so many weeks in a curriculum for it,
but that's the thing. It comes up, even in our time, it came up multiple times. Junior high, for me, junior high
almost
and
like
high school.
Every year almost.
Yeah.
Or every other year.
There is plenty of time sketched out for the conversations. It's just, in our cases, they did not utilize the time that they should have to be thorough enough.
Just be in the classroom. It has to be at home. And like, it should be taught more at home anyway, because you know that they're not getting information from the streets.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You can instill values in children to learn how to protect themselves from unwanted and unsavory behavior from sexual predators or from people who are trying to groom them or just set them up for success in the best way and just teach them how to be emotionally intelligent to understand, okay, physically you might want something, but if that other person doesn't want it as much as you want it physically, you need to cut it out.
That's right. And then another thing that was not talked about at all was like masterbation and that kind of thing.
If they were going to teach abstinence, they should have at least taught that.
Right.
But no, you're going to shoot your eye out, go blind. And I'm just like, well, how do I
no, it's
do
a sin. Those are.
Oh yeah,
it's a sin because you're supposed to be using that to procreate.
Yeah,
and that's the only function of sex. You're not supposed to enjoy sex. You're only supposed to use sex to procreate.
Right. And then there's going to be like all kinds of weird ways to get around it, like sexual loopholes. It's so crazy. Like these people, pent up you're going to find out how to do it in most like weird ass way.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
What was that? Didn't you say that there was a class that I think you said Peanut was going where they said no, like teaching them
they taught
autonomy.
Yes, they taught physical autonomy and consent when she was, I think, like 5th or 6th grade, like young, you know what I'm saying? Like nobody should, even younger than that, I think, where it's just like, okay, if you don't want somebody to touch you, that's totally up to you. And if they're saying, oh, don't tell an adult or don't tell them, that's probably when you need to tell them, you know what I'm saying? So they taught them like safety, how to protect yourself, and they taught like boundaries, which is crazy to me.
Did you get any of that when you were her age?
No.
That's what I'm talking about.
It was, and I told you I was assaulted a lot, and like I'm just like coming to realization, like when I was in college, when I was in high school, even when I was in grade school, like there were times where I was assaulted, and even like, oh God, some of the adults, and that's why I just stopped even saying anything, just because of the fact that there was so much shame for me. The one who gets assaulted, and it's just like, oh, what were you wearing? Did you drink? Were you under the influence of anything? Did you tell them no? Like no, or did you just tell them no? You know what I'm saying? Like, there shouldn't be degrees of no, or no doesn't mean no.
Can we tell the story? The high school,
Well,
is as roundabout as possible, because I feel like that is another consequence when you don't, when you teach not teach sexual health thoroughly, but when you teach sexual health the wrong way, adding patriarchy into the mix, you have situations where, folks end up exploring sex on their own again because they don't know what they're doing. And the thing is, sex between a female and a male, when all the parts are working, you can actually procreate.
I mean, that's the whole scare tactic that they use anyway. If you have sex, you're going to get pregnant, you're going to get AIDS and die.
Right. But see, when you don't teach it thoroughly, like you just mentioned, you look for all these kind of roundabout ways, and then sometimes, boop, a child happens.
Yeah.
Trying to go around it because you still have these desires that you don't know how to. And there was a situation that we are aware of where a young lady did get pregnant and was made to be put to shame with getting pregnant, and she had to hold that weight herself. The person who impregnated her was right there, but he didn't have to go through any type of, and the shame that I'm talking about is having to face a group of people. That was horrible. So going back to the point I was making, not just teaching bad sexual health, but when you mix in patriarchy with it, now you've got these generation of millennial women feeling shame around and feeling like I'm the bad guy with engaging in sex.
There was a whole like rapey culture in the 2000 single digits anyway. And like Girls Gone Wild, remember that?
Yes.
And like the whole like, what's his name? Like Joe Francis or something. Like all those videos and stuff that you see on like late night TV, where you see a lot of young girls who are like partying and whatnot.
The Epstein files.
Look.
If we're talking about current day, like right now, today.
Well, that happened then. That's like, right. Yo, that was around.
We are still facing repercussions for how poor and terrible as a country we approached millennial teens in our time, how you guys delivered sexual education to us.
Yeah.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah, there definitely need to be more emphasis on sexual intelligence than anything. It needs to be more emphasis. We needed more emphasis on that than the physical, or than what we got, actually.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get any type of like sexual intelligence type seminar.
I was just about to ask you, like, when did you start to come to your realizations that, oh, these things weren't just happy circumstance. This was assault. When in your life did you come to those realizations?
Well, the more education that I mean,
like the ages.
Oh.
20s, 30s.
I guess I came to know that I was assaulted maybe when I was like 22.
Okay. So yeah, early 20s is when it started to creep in?
Well, yeah, because I got married young.
Okay.
I got married at 21. And
my God.
Yeah, and I had a baby at 23. So like a lot of that kind of stopped. But like, yeah, man, my early 20s. So anyway, like I where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so I guess I started to realize some things like when I stopped being out there, and maybe when I started watching like episodes of Snapped. And
Do you think your old friend from college helped too when she started introducing you to language around mental health?
um,
Maybe not.
maybe not, maybe not, and maybe, because I know we did have conversations about that, and like I was triggered a lot because there were some things that happened to me that were just like I would end up going in like those same places that were recognizable, and I would just
Get triggered.
yeah, yeah. And I didn't like I thought I was like, okay, that's because like it was a bad time, whatever, but I would come to terms with the shame part and be like, oh, well, you're under the influence or whatever. But like the more the language came around, look, no one is entitled to your body. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it just dawned on me like that is total trash. Somebody is just like totally incapacitated and you just want to stick your dick in. Like, that's just, yes, yes. And that's when I realized that a lot.
If that person does not have the capacity to consent, that is still considered rape.
Yes, that's crazy. Like, unless you, yeah. So the more like that made a lot less sense to me about like what people did and what I endured. That's when I was like, oh yeah, that was assault, that was rape, that was this, and this. And at one point, like it got to the point where I just don't want to talk about it anymore because I was embarrassed.
Yeah. let me tell you this. I am so proud of you that you're able to discuss this, especially not just to me and friends, but just in the open forum, because one of the things that we see now, if we're talking about like our age, our decades, right? I whispered it. I'm gonna say it out loud. The Epstein files, and there's been other, that judge that was, I forget his name, that was assaulting female colleagues. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Kavanaugh. Yeah. All these things are now in this time. It's starting to. It's not starting. It's given the proper language and the attention, and these stories are important so that later generations, peanut generation, they don't have to deal with those same things. So by you being able to be strong enough to talk about these things, that's why we now have language and boundaries and classes and things, change happening because of those stories. Because if you stay quiet, that's the thing about the devil. That's the thing about evil. That's the thing about things that are not right. However you look at the universe, those things will continue on when you keep your mouth shut. So that it's important to be able to speak to these things so that folks know what the perspective is of the person that dealt with it and how we can make changes today to hold accountability to those individuals who took advantage of their power, their prowess, or whatever back then. So it's because of your stories that we have the change that we have now.
I mean, I guess this is the first time that this will be mentioned publicly. that just set in, but it is important.
Were you kind of zoned out and thought that you were just talking to me because I'm an easy conversationalist.
I'm telling you all my business.
You forgot that the mic was on. I don't believe that because I know we chatted earlier, I know that especially this is. And I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I imagine if I were you, the value of speaking about these things, not just because you went through it, but because look how God works. You have a daughter. Yeah. So I know if I were a parent, and and I forgot to throw this out there. I'm not a parent. However, as I mentioned in prior episodes, I have encountered queer youth, right? like I said, they still don't teach sexual education the right way when it comes to the queer community, because you still have now young men and women who find themselves to be same-sex attracted, and they don't have parental guidance as to what that is. So the whole concept of daddy issues and stuff. So a lot of folks like to put the blame on the younger person engaging with that older person. And you will actually have people out there. I've been in chats with black and brown gay men, friends of mine, who one would say, yeah, when I was 12, 13, 14, I was messing with this 20, 30, almost, for some of them say almost 40 or 50-year-old, and I knew exactly what I was doing. So I would never put that person, not recognizing that that's kind of traumatic. So
that's absolutely right.
yeah. So, but speaking on the fact that they were the child at the time, and saying that even though I'm an adult now, I still don't blame this person for me engaging with them, because I knew what I was doing. I was the one. And so I'm trying to add nuance to that. I've encountered queer youth, 18, 17. Some of them are on these apps, and or on social media, and they may run across you, and you're this adult, and may find you attractive and not know, like you said, their frontal lobe isn't developed. So they're coming on to you. They're doing the things. It is up to you as the adult to redirect that energy. And I've had to do that a few times, like, hey, hey, little boy. And in some cases, little girl, hey, little girl, I'm old enough to be your daddy. You need to be somewhere watching
So you need to graduate high school first.
Well, it's not even that, because I don't want you to be trying to aspire to, become old enough to approach me. My thing is that the thing that I needed when I was in my late teens, without guidance of how to navigate queer spaces and queer thoughts, the thing that I needed was someone to tell me, you are young, you have a whole life ahead of you. Don't gravitate towards these older figures as a sexual place to place yourself from, because there's an emotional part of it that you're not even aware of right now.
You're not safe with them.
Yeah. And anyone who takes you up on the offer, there's something wrong with them. You may not understand that now, but you will understand it later, and it may not be a pleasant thought when you go back on it. It likely will not. So, cool your horses. Is your homework done? That's what elders need to be doing, is redirecting that, because of the climate, and like I said, not having that sexual education, being as we're just getting to a point now where heterosexual sex education is where it should be, where they're teaching consent and all these other things. We still have a ways to go when it comes to queer education. Folks, first of all, y'all have to accept this as an option out there that is going to happen whether you like it or not. There are going to be queer children that come out of your vaginas, women and men who ejaculated in that woman. You have sons and daughters who will come out queer, and they will need to know how to navigate that space, being a young queer child with those thoughts, because they don't just automatically come and happen at the age of 18 like some of you guys think. That's so stupid. Why would someone who is queer, why would those thoughts just come in once you become legal? Like your body just says, oh, I think I know same-sex attracted at 18. That is at the times when they're going through those changes and hormones and things in their teens, young teens, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah.
Those same-sex ideas are the things that are, if they're queer, those are the things that are in their minds. And that's when they need that guidance, that education. That's when it needs to be enacted. And when it's not, they will try to figure it out themselves. That child will try to figure it out themselves. And that's where they're going to fuck up.
Yeah.
And it will be your fault. if you're a homophobic parent. So that's the message that I employ. And if you can't handle it, give the child to the system so that they can have a family that can, if you can't handle it, because you will do more damage to that child. Luckily, I feel like I got out of it because of privilege of size and all those things. But I could have been one of those many folks that has like some of the people that I've dealt with that have traumatic, like really traumatic sexual situations that happened when they were children that end up shaping who they are as an adult. I just thank God that that's not my story, but I really feel bad for the ones who have experienced that. So that's the kind of lesson that I've learned in terms of having poor sexual education, is that your child, they're going to figure it out. It doesn't matter how much you whoop them, you discipline them, you try to shame them. The truth is going to happen. And whether it's a healthy transition or a unhealthy one is up to you as the parent.
Agreed.
So in the future for me, I would hope that we move along with queer sex education. Don't look at it as a detriment, like something that you're trying to force children into. That is not a forceful thing. I talk to all my friends and family who have children that are in high school, in late grammar school, or junior high and things now. And right now, because we're at a time of liberation, and it will continue over time. We'll get more liberated. These kids now are identifying themselves as trans or gay, same-sex attracted, without even knowing the language of what that means. And I didn't even get into, that was a side story I told Leslie, I don't think I'm going to tell on this podcast, of situations where I, in high school, ran across individuals who might have been trying to, like same-sex individuals that might have been trying to come on to me that I didn't recognize because I didn't know what that was, even though I knew that I had this queer something in me. I didn't know what queer sex looked like and all those kind of things. That's why I said I could have, if I was kind of one of those folks that was a little bit more susceptible to my ignorance, I could have a really terrible story. But anyways, my hope is that we get over the stigma around queerness so that it can catch up with heterosexual sex education as it is right now in the schools. How about you, Leslie?
Well, my hope is that less women be assaulted.
Yeah.
It's just so upsetting how taken advantage of, like the entitlement around, and even in healthcare, you know what I'm saying, how that has been rolled back. And so my hope is that there is more sexual intelligence that is taught in sex education and in the household, as far as like sitting with your kids and telling them, hey, there is nothing you can't tell me. And if anybody says that you can't, that's when you should.
Yeah.
And
so like more emotional intelligence being infused into sex education.
right. That and more education around like consent, which is being taught. It's just more being taught, and just better emotional intelligence for people to handle rejection when physically they're feeling one way and they're being shot down. I don't know how to say it, but it's just like, look, no is no, and whenever it comes,
and no is okay.
Right, and no
you're
is
not
okay.
less of a man if a woman tells you no.
Right, and if someone says no in the middle of things, then you have to stop.
Right.
You have to stop. Like there needs to be some type of respect and lack of that entitlement vibe or entitlement like era or whatever.
Yeah, that's tied into patriarchy. Yeah.
It is. It is. So that's what I just hope to see. And just more protections for all types of sexual health. It's for everybody. And I would like to see more contraceptives for men, more birth control for dudes.
That would, you know what? That would be something to infuse more into education too, like vasectomies, what that looks like, how that's not like a death sentence to you having children. It's reversible. What does male contraceptives look like? So I guess from that sounds like removing more patriarchy out of sex education.
Yeah, I guess those types of viewpoints.
Yeah.
But I wish that I could just tell my 20-year-old self to just cool it. Like, this is like, I can explore myself without having other people explore me. And it's just like to take that time to just educate myself more on me. And to be honest, like, it wasn't something that I was like totally into, like, honestly, but I was, because that's just what I felt where I was going on. And I'm pretty sure a lot of that had to do with that was residual from me being assaulted and not processing that all the way, because sometimes it does become a personality. And I would just tell myself, just like, speak up, like, that shouldn't have happened. And if I wasn't out there to say, hey, I'm asking for it, I wasn't asking for it, you know.
That's
like,
right.
No one deserves that type of cruelty over anybody, and no one is entitled to anybody else's body, you know. So
that's right.
I would just be kinder to myself and focus on the things that that will grow me, and to create boundaries for myself so that I can be braver, I guess, to say no, or not give up on myself, to think that I'm not worthy to, or that I'm lucky, I guess, for anybody to touch me, kind of thing, you know. So I guess I would just chalk that up to being kinder and to continue to work on my emotional intelligence.
Period.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably tell my 20-year-old self to, it's okay on this side of the fence, because I was still very much in the closet, in denial in my early 20s. And I also to give myself the reassurance, not just in the early 20s, but like late teens, even though I just had those two little small instances. And like I said, nothing really happened, but just kind of give yourself the reassurance that you don't have to figure this out by yourself, and you don't have to figure it out by engaging in the thing. Like you said, cool it out. You're young. You have a whole life ahead of you of experiences. You don't have to try to hurry up and rush these experiences now just because you don't understand things, because you'll start to get it as you get older. And so
It's
again,
better when you're older anyway, because you have your own like place.
That's right.
You don't have to like hide and like do it in cars and stuff.
One of the things Leslie told me when we were talking on Saturday or Friday, whatever that was, that you told me, because I was just like, oh, I feel like I'm in this whole phase right now, and I'm like 40. I feel like I'm too old to be in the whole phase. And Leslie's just like, I'm paraphrasing, but she's just like, you're actually right where you need to be. It's better to be in your whole phase now as an adult with emotional intelligence, your own things, all the things, versus you being young, not understanding what's going on. And then now you've got a trauma attached to an experience. Whereas now, aside from someone like maybe breaking your heart, if you fall for somebody that you shouldn't or whatever, that's about the depth of risk that you have with being in your whole phase right now. So,
and you have health insurance.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
So I received that now. I didn't receive it this weekend, but I receive it now. Any promos coming up, Liz? Anything you got going on?
No, just we're still in rehearsals and working on some things. So
When does that Mosaic Theater thing go live?
Violet Surprise.
Violet Surprise.
And
Sorry.
we will have our first show go up, I guess, in March.
Okay, so we got a long ways to go. As for me, I do have a tribute to Luther Vandross, the one and only, at Epiphany Center for the Arts, coming Sunday, December 14th. I'm working on that right now. It's going to be really great. At the time that this rolls out, it'll probably be really close to that date, so get your tickets if it hasn't been sold out already. I think that's all I got, Leslie. You got anything else?
Nope.
Child, I have to pee. I've been sitting here.
Yeah, same. Just like
I've been sitting here struggling. So look,
Auntie, I'm gonna beat you.
Well, I got two. So you go to one, I'll go to the other. This is your hopefully soon to be favorite uncle and auntie.
But we ain't claiming yours.
Hold that note. Come on. Yes. We are out of here. Bathroom time. Bye, y'all.